Squash XL Pro is an elite team that work hard to train, play and run squash events on our journey to climb the world rankings. Like, subscribe, comment, pick up some of our merch on Teespring.
So now this second semi-final underway. We have ZAC Millar in the white shirt against WILLZ Donnelly in the black. And both players having played their quarterfinals earlier in the day, with WILLZ Donnelly winning an well over an hour against Joel Ascott, the second seed in 5 games. Now you're going to see some creative shot making from particularly ZAC Millar. It won't necessarily be the longest match you've ever seen. Well, maybe if WILLZ Donnelly has something to do with that. He could do it again. He's going to be pretty tired. And we have 25-year-old Millar, ranked at about 200 off the roof. Ranked at about 225 in the world, of course, Commonwealth Games in 2018. And WILLZ Donnelly over 300, just sitting over 300 in the rankings. He is 20 years old, currently out of Taupo. And no let. So a quick lead, an early lead for WILLZ Donnelly. Let's see whether ZAC Millar can just get himself into this match. And racing through the scores here, just to see whether we can cut out the errors for Millar. He will hit a lot of winners. It's that sort of player. Well, certainly we haven't had the long rallies like we did in the previous match. And just to update you on what occurred there, 2 games to love for Lawamba Chalisi. It was 14-12 in the first, 11-9 in the second. Then he was up momentarily in the third. And Elijah Thomas rolled his ankle, was down on the ground in a bit of pain, managed to lift off. But looking at the replays, yeah, it didn't look nice. So it was ankle rolled, and we'll get more of an update on that later on. And tough there for Elijah. Hurt his back in the semis of Eden Epsom, his own club, a few weeks ago, and now just coming back. Lunge for the ball, and yeah, it was nasty. So Lawamba Chalisi going through to the final, and he will play the winner of this particular match, with ZAC Millar fighting back from 1-3 down to now be 4-all. Interesting boast. And a couple of tins there from WILLZ Donnelly. I think both players just need to slow down a little bit. Better for the longer rally, a little bit more tactical, and then no. A few balls going out over the glass in the last match as well, and a few strokes as well. In fact, I think we had a total of 5 strokes in the first match, as the players tried to keep each other in check by keeping close. It wasn't so much of a physical game, but plenty of good shots, and not up there. So good to see Royal Oak with this PSA tournament, this men's tournament being a satellite and the women's a challenger, which means we're also going to have the women's final second. The women's final gets played first, or tends to. However, tomorrow it'll be 2 o'clock for the men's, and the women's final will be following that. settling into. Okay, yeah. He didn't question it. Knew that he needed to get out of the way a little bit quicker than that. So settling into a little bit more of a patterned match. Players just working the points a bit better than they did in the first few, and much better. Gee, that's a powerful backhand. After all that, ZAC Millar with the error. And a lot of power shown in those rallies. We started off slow in that particular rally, but then as we worked it in, you could see the power come through from the shortened swing usually, from ZAC Millar in particular. Nice change of direction. And you have to appreciate watching ZAC Millar just to work out where he's going to hit it next. Just when you think he's hugging one wall in particular, he'll change direction and then put in a very powerful shot like that. That's one heck of a boast. So ZAC Millar told that he was in the swing, that if Donnelly, even if he had gone for the ball, would have taken off his head or some other part of his body. So you heard the call there, no let then let. And we have ZAC Millar still with the advantage here to take out the first game. Just hugging the wall, the backhand wall. Let's see who's going to go cross first. Yeah, well done on the smash there, boy. Got up and hit that one right through.
Get slick, there's room to play there, mate. Get slick. Get slick. He was out of the way in time. No.
Into the second game of this, the second semi-final. Of course, the winner of the first semi was Luamba Chilisi. 2 games to love, and then I guess we'll call it 3 love as such, because Elijah Thomas took a nasty fall, and Luamba Chilisi, I believe you've just seen a replay of that fall. Wasn't very nice for Elijah, was it?
No, it wasn't pretty, eh? Looked like his foot went fully flat, 90 degrees on the ground as he kind of landed on it. So, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Elijah. In fact, that's the second tournament that he's had an injury, I think, against you as well in the semi-finals of Eden Epsom. Yeah, that was against Tim, sorry. yeah, semi-finals each time they hurt his back there, and then this one, though, was very evident. He was lying on the ground. I don't know how he hopped off. But, yeah, so tough stuff there for Elijah. But good news for you to go through to the final because just as we watch this between ZAC Millar and WILLZ Donnelly here, another entertaining rally. I think that's a good way of putting it. One of the lot of rallies of the match so far. In fact, it probably is the longest rally. I'm just trying to... There we go. Oh! Gee. He was going to finish that no matter what. Either going to be into the tin or it was going to be a winner. I mean, that's the thing. I've been trying to actually anticipate where Zac's going to hit the ball. It's almost like a game, a drinking game in many ways. But I don't think anybody can work it out.
It's even tough watching from... Normally from the audience it's a bit easier to read people, but even watching Zac from here, it's still tough to read.
Yeah. He has so much power.
3-1, not up. From the right, 3-1.
Yeah, he's just able to generate so much power and then also hit the unorthodox shot as well, which must be tough to play against.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It has a lot of Zac head speed with quite a short backswing, which creates the deception.
I mean, you'd expect with that much power that he'd take a bigger swing, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
That's what you expect.
I mean, he does sometimes. If the ball comes off the back wall and he's kind of going to take a space, he does seem to open up his swing a little bit more. But the ones that are kind of in short, he likes to have a short backswing, as it's a lot harder to read. Signature Zac shot there from the back forehand.
Yeah, he doesn't mind a good boast, does he? If it had come off, it would have been spectacular. But that's his game in many ways. So for WILLZ to come back into this match and maybe to take this second, he really needs to focus on just getting the ball back, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think the tough thing with Zac is you can't get caught up in the front because he's very good in the front. But also you can't just try and outgrind them and rally. You do have to take them in short, so it's about finding the balance.
Well, even then, he chose not to do power and he just chose to do quite a tough post to get back.
Yeah. So WILLZ just needs to be careful that he doesn't get into just a kind of straight drive rally game, because Zac is actually good at absorbing pressure that way. So.
No, that was a stroke there, but in your match against Elijah, in the 2.5 games that we had, I think there was 5, maybe 6 strokes. Which was that because you guys are just trying to keep physical check on each other, or it seemed a lot?
Yeah, I think I would say for me definitely it's just when you try and the earlier you try to take the ball, the more likely you are to get your timing off, and I think those strokes came from hitting the corners and the sidewall too early. And that's just from mistiming, from trying to take the ball early. So, I mean, both me and Elijah both like to try and volley a lot and take it early. So I'd probably say that's why.
Yeah, you'd like to take a lot of volleys, and that means you get more control of the point in theory. So it's interesting for you watching who you're going to play tomorrow in the final, and interesting that you're going to be playing first as well. Generally it's the females first, followed by the men, but in this case, because they've got the bigger tournament as such when it comes to prize money, they're second. It doesn't matter to you what time you play tomorrow. I mean, 2 or 2:45 doesn't mean much, does it?
Nah. I actually quite like playing it too. Like last week at Whakatane, me and my brother played the final at 4:30.
Okay.
Which in my opinion is too late. Not because of us, but just because of other people. Like, if it's a long match like it was, it ends up being a little bit too late. You know, getting into the kind of 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Well, that's
time. Yeah.
Tell me about that match, because your brother said he got lucky. I said, don't ever say that you're lucky when you win. But it was pretty tight.
It was close, yeah. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it was luck. I don't really believe in luck in squash. But yeah, it was the crowd definitely got their money's worth, I'd say.
That's good. And there was a good crowd in Whakatane?
Yeah, there was, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, packed out. It was very nice. Yeah, really enjoyed the match.
I mean, certainly in this series, you're getting a lot of different clubs. Henderson, in Nipson, Whakatane. You've got here in Royal Oak next week. Morrinsville's an add-on as well, and it would have been North Shore in there too. So a lot of different clubs.
Yep. No, it's good. It's good to see. Like, kind of trying to branch out a little bit from Auckland as well. So yeah, for me it's good because I'm in the Waikato, so all the tournaments are either in Waikato or Auckland, so it's quite easy to get to, which is quite cool. So
next week Morrinsville, that'll be fun. That's a Saturday final.
Yeah.
In fact, semis and final. Nice. In the first game, it was Miller taking up the first. We're back with Luamba Chilisi, and we are looking at the second semi-final. In fact, we're looking at your opponent tomorrow, or one of these guys will be, ZAC Millar against WILLZ Donnelly, at 1 game apiece. And nice control so far on this rally by WILLZ Donnelly. Really stepping up on the tee. See if he can keep it. Oh my goodness. Well, we saw a couple of unorthodox shots in the Luamba where ZAC played the ball away from his body in a inside-out fashion. I don't know if he could actually coach that sort of shot.
Yeah, it looked like both of them were just trying to be tricky and straighten it up. Trying to show the cross and then straighten it up. But it's just hitting the sideball and coming back.
And you can also hear that there are other matches going on around us.
Yeah, that's Gabe Yam making that noise.
Yeah. Great to have Gabe in the tournament, the last couple of tournaments. I think he's enjoying himself. I'm not sure about that one. A little bit of laughter behind us as well. But that is something good that Gabe and Matt Vicente, to a certain extent as well, have been taking part in the last couple of tournaments, because it just adds a bit of variety to the same players that you're playing.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's quite enjoyable. It's having two new, well, not new faces, but faces coming back.
Yeah.
And yeah, they haven't really lost it, so they still put up a good fight. You know, it's good competition for us because, as you said, you get bored playing the same people all the time. So
the thing is with say Gabe is that he's meant to be on a scholarship at Drexel University, a good, strong university in squash and other things as well. However, he's stuck here because of COVID. Matt Vicente was on a scholarship. Not sure if it's finished yet, but he was there as well. So, you know, they've been playing good squash. It's just been competitive, and he hasn't had to play, or hasn't been able to play competitive squash.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, which is probably why they're starting to play these tournaments, just so they can kind of hold their level.
And it's close to home, and it's something to do. But it's also, the COVID has also held you up from going overseas as well. In fact, it held you up in the UK. You were stuck there for a while, weren't you?
Yeah. So yeah, I was stuck there for a couple of months in lockdown. Then had to come back in quarantine. So yeah, fun times. Nice shot.
4-2.
I think the other thing when you look at Zach is that his game is, you're not sure if he's really into it. So when you play against someone is he focusing on this game? Is he concentrating? And he just sort of seems a little bit kind of relaxed when he chases the ball, and you're thinking, is this guy really switched on? He is.
He is, yeah. If you think he isn't, then you're going to lose. So, yeah.
Straight to Donnelly. 4-all.
Well, what do you think?
Tough call there.
Just a let?
I can understand why is this show.
Yeah.
A little bit harsh, but just don't hit it back to yourself. Moral of the story. Well, he's guessed right there.
Bit of running. We made the comment with Tim while watching your game, watching your match, was that the ball was sticking to the wall quite a bit. Did you find that? Certainly in the first couple of games, it seemed to be really sticking a lot. Because it wasn't dying in the backcourt, but...
Yeah, I don't actually know, because I actually found playing last week in Whakatane, I really noticed the ball sticking to the wall, so...
Not so much this time?
Yeah, I think maybe because of that. It didn't feel like it was as much, but at the same time, when I was playing Elijah, I wasn't actually playing it straight a lot.
Right,
We didn't really have too many rallies straight down the wall. So yeah, it was kind of hard to tell from my end at least.
But the ball certainly wasn't dying in the back corners like some courts.
Nah, yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, well, I played on the court too this morning, and there was a lot more dead. Yeah. So it's court for a bit more bouncy. I'd say it's quite a true court. Ball comes off almost normal.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Very nice rally there.
And out 5-6.
There was the triple whammy on the front left. 2 drops and a drive from ZAC.
That's something that any player wants, right? Drop, drop, drop.
But yeah, that's what I was talking about, getting caught up playing short on short against ZAC. But he did hit it tight there, so it was tough for WILLZ to get it out, but it's very dangerous in the front if you consistently play it there. In saying that though, this game has been quite entertaining. We're both in this match, 6-all, 1-all.
One thing that I've noticed with Miller is that when he hits a boast, he hits it from quite a way back sometimes. You know, he's hitting it from half court almost sometimes. I mean, you get the little dinks up the front, but he doesn't mind trying to boast from some interesting angles. Oh, that's a nice shot.
7-6.
Yeah, and that's the whole racket head speed thing again, I think. You can play 2 or 3 shots from that same spot, which is why the boast is so effective.
Good play.
And out 7-all.
So we've seen a good couple of winners from both players there. I mean, that's what you want as a player. You want to be able to hit that winner, don't you? I mean, it's all nice winning it from an error, but you want to hit that winner.
Yeah, it's definitely more satisfying.
It's so much more satisfying, yeah. mean, that was the only decision you could give there, right?
Yep. Yeah, just couldn't react in time to get out of the way there. Those ones are always tough.
And good to see
And out 8 all.
big sister Emma Miller watching her brother playing Emma on court after this match, and she'll take on Rebecca Barnett in the first of the women's semi-finals. The second women's semi-final, Lana Harrison, and she takes on Caitlin Watts. So good also to see both Rebecca and Caitlin back in the game after little breaks for various different reasons. Caitlin a few injuries and just refreshing herself. She's only 20 years old, and Rebecca Barnett has been overseas. She was a former junior champ. In fact, she was in the New Zealand women's team, as Caitlin was as well. So two players who are still young and into the game again.
Yeah, I guess you could say both men's and women's have seen a few old faces coming back. So
Exactly. Old young
it's
faces.
exciting. Old young faces, yeah.
That's great, because if you can keep people, even if players do want a year or travel or whatever, and they want to come back and still show that they're competitive, that's what we need. And it'll be good for Emma Miller to actually play someone fresh again.
Yeah.
Hasn't lost in New Zealand since March last year. That was the Auckland champs.
Had a close one at Henderson against Shelley.
Yeah.
Definitely not a disc squash.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, again, there was an unorthodox person coming
Yeah,
out
for sure.
with a
Yeah.
different style.
It was,
And out 10-9 game ball.
it's definitely interesting for us being the audience, being the spectators. Because there was a point in the last couple of years where it's kind of just been Emma, Lana, Abby, playing each other all the time, knocking each other out. So
Yeah.
it's good
And
to see some fresh
It
people.
depended where Lana was as well in the draw.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
You had, she didn't have the PSA ranking, she now does, albeit that it's 300 and something. It should be around about the 100-ish mark.
Yeah.
And in many ways, it's like the 3 or 4 of you and your brother and Joel and Elijah to a certain extent as well. The 4 of you have been similar, albeit that you have the higher ranking.
Yeah.
The longer rallies so far of this, the third game. And we're going to call a 11 on that one.
Straight to Donnelly.
Oh.
And out 10 all.
Okay, so the stroke, but I mean, the difficult thing is where was Miller going to go? But then he played the ball there, so it's his responsibility, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's because it clipped the sideball and came back to him. He had to find a way to clear because the line was right through him. So he just needs to keep that ball a little bit straighter, which he obviously tried to do, but just didn't come off.
And he was running out of room, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Where am I going to go? So 10 apiece.
Seen it. Nice couple of rallies on this backhand side, which is very entertaining.
That's the thing. You've got to keep. I mean, he's got a powerful enough backhand, but you've got to keep away from a high forehand to anybody really, but particularly someone like Zach. He's able to hit those winners. I'll give you some coaching tips for tomorrow.
All depends.
I
who
think that's
wins,
fairly
doesn't it?
obvious. You pick it up. Well, we saw a few interesting shots behind the back and the lifted kind of lob.
Yep, quite a nice rally. I remember last week Zach played Matthew Lucente and Whakatane.
Right.
Crucial time in the fourth, I think Matt was up 10-9 game ball to take it to 5. And Zach played it behind the back winner. It was ridiculous. And they went on to win the match in 4.
When you lose to a spectacular shot,
Yeah, it's always tough.
some people would say it was a fluke. He would just say it's natural.
Yeah, he'll say he practices it.
I've been practicing it.
Hands out, 12 and even, Daniel.
Well, in this, they can make this the third game. We really haven't seen anybody take the initiative that much. I mean, we had WILLZ Donnelly up a little bit to start with, but somehow ZAC MILLAR has just hung around, and we've waited for the mistakes from WILLZ Donnelly. Let's see what we can get here. Yeah.
Question is there going to be a winner or a tin, as I was just about to say.
Yeah, well, we got the tin then, just at the top of it. Yeah, don't make this a drinking game, trying to anticipate what he's going to do next. It will not be good. More controlled rally, playing the walls so far, and taking the pace off as well. A little bit of a body bump. Oh, that's after all that, to be able to suddenly
12.
take the pace off and use the angle is that's good control. Yeah, well, it kind of shows how dangerous ZAC is around that middle of the court. It wasn't a bad shot from WILLZ, but that's the thing with ZAC, he can take his opportunities from nothing.
Oh, I think that has
And that's, yeah, he's got the stroke there. It's unfortunate. It was the right call. It was the right call. He just kind of held long enough there. But yeah,
I mean, if he had taken his racket back, he was going to be hitting WILLZ.
he was going to hit him. Yeah.
Well, in this, the second men's semi-final, we have ZAC MILLAR up by 2 games to 1.
Well, at the surf level.
There you go. I don't need to say it anymore. Well, but Chilisi, it's been intriguing. Oh. And a stroke. Yeah, no, that's not going to help if you put your headband down over your eyes either, ZAC. Yeah, I mean, that's the right call on that one. Again, ZAC getting himself in a little bit of trouble there with the movement.
And out 1 all.
Again, one of those shots, Luamba, where just picks it off and is able to use the angle, put the racket up high.
And it's either on the floor or a winner. So, yeah. Let's read that one. I think we're gonna,
No good on this one.
we could potentially see an easy win in this game for WILLZ. Because I think ZAC's going to try and go for it from the start. However, if the shots do come off, it could be close.
Oh, yeah. Nice play by WILLZ Donnelly there. He could tell that he had ZAC coming up on his left-hand side, on the backhand side, and then chose to sweep it away into the forehand corner nice and deep.
Slip 3-1 from the left.
And he may not always say that much, ZAC MILLAR, but he still gives you a lot, doesn't he? When it comes to personality on the court, he doesn't necessarily say it, but the eye rolls, the facial expressions, the body language, that's entertainment in itself.
Yeah, I think for such a big dude, he's actually got. He's kind of a little bit of a teddy bear, kind of like Timor as well. Kind of soft-hearted, looks aggressive, but he's not actually.
Well, he's trimmed his beard from what was it last year at the Nationals? It looked as though he'd just come straight out of the bush. With the hair as well, and even his sister was saying the same thing. It's interesting. Whoever coached the pair of them, they coached them to not really say that much on court. Emma can't stop smiling, and Zach, well, he uses facial expressions and body language. Great speed around the court. There you go, you heard the oh from the crowd.
3-4.
Big point, that was a big point.
And again, in this particular game, there's no real lead. We've had WILLZ Donnelly just a couple of points, but he's not able to take it any further. It's 2, maybe 3 ahead. Oh, that's why he gets 2 or maybe 3. So at this stage, we could be. You'd think we'd be going 5, but you never know with the way that Zach will come back. What a power on that backhand. And then we have the error coming back as well from WILLZ Donnelly. I want to ask you who you're expecting to win Luamba, because you've got to play the winner, but is there anybody standing out who looks as though they're just going to take it and just, this is my match?
Nah, not at the moment. I mean, watching last game it was quite even, but Zach did seem like he was just the one kind of taking the initiative, as you said earlier.
Somehow.
Yeah, I think WILLZ just got a little bit passive in that last game, but it's completely changed now. So yeah. So yeah, you can never call it. If anyone's playing Zach, you can never really call it.
Right. And at that particular point, the stroke, no big argument there from WILLZ, was there?
Nah, I think it was the right call. He did walk directly into his line. I mean, he probably didn't know where Zach was, but the ball
I
was.
think that's something that no one really knows where he is.
Yeah, ball was too loose though as well, so it's kind of those two factors which made for the stroke. Yep.
Well, we've had Zach Miller come back into it again, finding himself 2 or 3 points down, and now he's back there. I was going to say it's a signature shot, but not quite. The smash that is not quite into the tail. So there we go, 2 into the tin there. Both potential winners.
Yeah, I'm actually quite enjoying this. Hope it goes to 5.
Of course, you got this shorter match. We should just say to people what occurred in your match against Elijah Thomas, who won the first, what was that, 14-12, and then 11-9. And then midway through the early stages of the third, a tumble from Elijah, and not a very pleasant tumble. You can go back on the feed and have a look, but you'll probably groan a little bit because it didn't look too good. The foot, I think it's the left ankle, just going about 3 or 4 different directions.
Yeah, he had obviously, well, for those who don't know, he actually has a problem with his back at the moment, kind of on and off injury, and he was already feeling that a little bit. I think just because he was so slow onto the ball, he was a little bit clumsy. Because my shot was, initially it looked like he thought it was going to be too good, and he wasn't going to run for it.
Everything was good. I done it. Were you marking the pickup?
So there was a question there from ZAC Miller to the officials. They didn't see anything major, and in the end it was the error. We're into the 5th and final of this, the men's second semi-final. The winner of the first was Luamba Chilisi in straight games over Elijah Thomas, albeit that Thomas took a fall a significant fall, and looks to have injured his ankle in the third. So now we have ZAC Miller in the white against WILLZ Donnelly in the black, and a change of headband from black to pink. For pinkish, I don't know, not very good with colours. I do know it's black for WILLZ Donnelly, that's what he's wearing, out of the Taupo Club. And we've seen a few trick shots from ZAC Miller, a couple behind the back, a few other little dinks and drives and everything else in between. And meanwhile,
Excellent. Yeah, you're sleeping.
2 left from the right.
Yeah, so you're sleeping. Check it.
so I'm not sure there, Luamba. It was almost as if that WILLZ was looking for a stroke, but oh, he didn't get it. I don't think it was worthwhile then that he was going to get it either. Oh, now that one just dropped. So we have seen a little bit of a start like this in the past, where, in fact, in the first game, oh my goodness, that's 4, where he did go up about 3-1. I'm not sure it was 4. And wanting to speed it up a little bit here, you can see Donnelly ready to go.
Yeah.
Whereas ZAC, whether it's fitness or whether it's just the way he wants to play, wanted to slow it down.
WILLZ looks well eager to get off court here.
Yeah, I think so.
It's quite smart from ZAC there, because in the past he's known for playing the shot and staying in the shot.
Right.
Whereas he actually made a very good effort to move out of the way there, and kind of looked like it caught WILLZ off guard a little bit. By the time he tried to play the ball, he actually ended up playing the player, which is why it was a no let. So.
And outside one.
So, as you expect, as we get into the 5th, some of the calls being not so much questioned, but there's going to be a few more calls, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think as the players get tired as well, they get a bit slower to move off the ball. So, it means that obviously it's going to be more likely that there's more let calls and more strokes and no lets for that matter.
The other thing is with ZAC is that he's a solid guy. You don't see when you look at maybe Tim's fairly solid, I guess, but most of the other players are a little bit more leaner.
Yeah.
But he's going to use his body, and the smart players use what they've got. He can use his physicality and his power. Yep. Nice. Use the power there.
See, this is where it gets very interesting. ZAC obviously being the more experienced player, he's very known for this sort of stuff. where it looks like he's kind of out of it, and then all of a sudden he's back in, and he's got the other player or the younger player questioning what's going on.
You sort of want to say to him, well, can you do that in straight games next time, not 5? If you can do this in 5, why can't you do it in straight?
4-5 from the right.
And that's a question we all need answering, really.
But that's the other thing for you, potentially, if you play it, is that you can't really. It's a great shot. Well, there's 5 in a row, but you can't just. Oh well, if we go to 5, I'm fitter than him. Doesn't mean anything. So you would say that WILLZ has the more regular game, the more textbook game, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, any player has a more textbook game than ZAC, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Which actually works in ZAC's favour.
So do you manage to hit against ZAC and Waikato very often, or you're at different clubs, aren't you?
No, so we're at the same club, but he works and does a bit of coaching as well. So I haven't played with them, trained with them for a couple of years. I have played a lot of matches with them though, obviously, in tournaments and stuff.
You slid 7-6 from the right.
It is.
Exaggerated, man.
You heard the comments, but he was trying to get on the leg. The racket didn't hit his face, and the official saying he possibly. Oh.
All good. Donnelly, point to Donnelly.
8-7.
You guys are playing through a lot of interference. I'm going to give the point to Donnelly. Oh, your racket. Does racket call you on the left? Alright, we'll play a lead on that point then if your racket caught him. I didn't see your racket catch him. So yes, play a lead.
7-6 from the right.
So I think what we're seeing here, Luamba, is the difference between being down on the court and the difference between being up here.
Yeah. Yeah. It used to be both players sort of getting in the way of each other.
Yeah.
You slid 7-6 from the right.
I was about to say, and that's a great winner.
It was a great block. It was a great winner. Probably should have been a no net, but yeah, just very, very juicy. Very juicy. I'm enjoying this a lot, Dave. What about you?
I think most people would be glad that I'm not an official because I just play on. If it's a racket embedded in your head, so what? Oh, nice change.
This is some outrageous retrieval from both players.
Oh, yeah, well played. That's a great rally. And I think you've got to give credit there to WILLZ for the patience, for the retrieval from ZAC, but the patience there from WILLZ to just stay in it.
Yeah.
And
Joke squash, yeah.
yeah, he didn't. You could understand how he could have just tried too much too soon, but he was very patient there. Again, good patience.
This is ridiculous for WILLZ. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. 2 top shots.
I haven't seen him play this well since Nationals last year, where he actually
did very
had
well
some
there.
great performances there. and even being deep in the fifth there, reading that boast is a lot tougher than it looks.
Bit of body checking, yeah, right.
Head down, it's 9.
So
This is
two great shots, hadn't he? And then
yeah,
too much.
too much. Yeah, this is the issue with getting that lead, and can't get too complacent, especially with someone like Zach who can hit 2 winners just like that. So can Wills keep his head? That's the question.
Head down, 10-7. Match ball.
Well, for Wills, if he does win this point or win the whole match, that's 2 big 5 setters. I can see you smiling.
Very enjoyable. Ridiculous shot.
It's a great shot to do when you're down by a game ball, match ball there, and it's
It's not over. It's not over.
you're still not sure who you're going to play in the final.
Yes, left. 18 from the right. Ball. Hand out.
And great to see so many people here at the Royal Oak Rackets Club. It's a men's satellite, satellite and women's challenger. Women's semi-finals to come, and of course tomorrow the men's final featuring you, the Luamba, and the winner of this match at 2 p.m. And the women's final will be after that, 2:45.
It's gonna happen.
Nice. Almost. Thought he had that one. It was looking pretty good there for a while. That Wills can just nab that one down the side. But what we had there was a very good hugging the backhand ball. And then just too much. You're just loving these calls, aren't you? You're just thinking, thank goodness you're not on the court right now. You can get it tomorrow.
It's the right call. I was hoping for a spicy stroke or no let there, though.
We saw a lovely pirouette there to recover, and lots he's just admiring his own work now. Zach Miller there, some great play to stay in it. That's
Hands in, match ball.
so. I Fantastic play, forcing the error, or almost, and then the error from WILLZ Donnelly. And the big smile knowing that he just tried too much. And the officials onto that one as quick as they could be. When you're 11 all in the fifth. Oh. Yeah. Even gets a clap from ZAC Millar as well.
I'm struggling to stay in my seat here.
Yeah. I would, that was just a tight point, and then suddenly, almost out of nowhere. We expect that from ZAC. Oh, there you go. WILLZ Donnelly winning in 5, and that was a tight 5, 13-11 in the fifth.